Hi everyone and welcome back. In this video I'm venturing outside of Gunpla to the land of 5-star stories. Actually, Gundam and 5-star stories have some common ties which I'll talk about in a bit, but I've always had an eye on the 5-star stories designs. Their signature tall and slender shapes and a blend of mecha and organic designs work really well together. But the thing that's put me off painting them before was that I know absolutely nothing about the series, and I'm the kind of person who needs to know how cool the suits are before painting them. But that's until I saw this kit. I just knew I had to make an exception because it looks so cool already without any context. This is the 1/72nd scale Zarathustra Apterbringer, or ZAP in short. And this is a recast by SX Studio. Now normally I wouldn't go for a recast, but let me explain the process of buying the genuine resin kit. First, you need to apply to buy one in Japan, which the dates have already expired, and then you enter a lottery system to see whether you can buy it or not. And if you do get it, it retails for a freaking £1,000, or about 1300 USD. The SH Studio one costs about 250, so it's either the genuine kit that retails for £1,000, which you can't buy from the official site anymore. So buying from a third party would cost upwards of, I guess, £1,250, or the alternative of a recast for £250. That's a minimum of £1,000 difference. So every criticism about the casting quality in this video is gonna be followed with, but it is £1,000 cheaper. So let's look at the boxes. You get two massive boxes that are separated into solid and clear resin. Don't get fooled though. Most of the space is used for packaging. The actual amount of resin is less than the 1/60th scale Segok that I have. In the first box, there are parts for the display base, which is included as a bonus gift. You get the name tag and emblem as well, which is very nice. And the display base is just a large piece of wood, but it's very well made and smooth. Next are the decals. They're nice and sharp, and there aren't that many. And let's look at the manual. The content is basically a copy of the official one, as you can already guess. What's nice is they include the color guide to recreate the official color scheme, but most of the paints used are Gaia notes and Born paints, which aren't available in the UK, but it's still a good reference. And it's interesting that there are multiple steps in the colors, so it'll tell you to wait for the paint to dry and then apply the pearl gloss paint on top. Here are some sample photos for the next pages. After that is the parts list. There are 190 parts in total, so not a whole lot. And the top half is the clear resin parts, and the bottom half is the solid parts. And next is the assembly guide. Overall it's pretty simple. It's got less parts than an MG, and the parts are pretty big, so you wouldn't really have any trouble assembling it. But the last page of instruction is missing somehow. I think SH Studio just forgot to copy it. But it's only missing the sword, the back tails and the energy cables to the rival. So it should be pretty simple to figure out yourself. It's just a bit of an oversight from SX Studio. But let's have a look at the parts. Overall the details are very clear, so I don't expect a lot of work is needed for rescribing. The main issue to fix would be where the two halves of the mold meet. There's quite a lot of misalignment, so sanding and filling will be needed there. But again, this is £1,000 cheaper, so if you consider that, it's totally fine. Now let's look at the second box, where the clear parts are. Again, the details are very clear, and it's the same issue of misalignment. Some polishing would be needed as well to make it fully transparent. Out of the box, they are a little bit semi-transparent. So looking at the photos, it doesn't seem like it's gonna be a really complicated kit to paint. There aren't actually that many color separations, unlike what you would usually see in a Gunpla kit, for example, as a lot of the details would be painted with reverse wash, so there isn't a lot of masking needed either. But the trick is to prepare the parts perfectly in order to achieve that really glossy and clean look. There are some warped parts as well that can easily be fixed with a hairdryer or a bowl of hot water. You will also have to drill holes for pinning for almost every part, but all the connection points already have divots showing where you should drill, so that's a really nice touch. And yeah, overall it's not a complicated kit to assemble, it just looks very intimidating. And I just love how exaggerated certain things are, and the rifle is so long. It is almost half a meter in length. One thing to bear in mind is this steel beam that came pre-installed is a little bit too long, and steel is really tough, so you'll need some heavy duty cutters for that. So if you didn't know, 5 Star Stories is created by Mamoru Nagano. He also designed suits for the Zeta Gundam series. So you'll find some suits in Zeta that shares resemblances with 5 Star Stories suits. The most obvious example is the Yakushiki and the Knight of Gold. And a lot of the suits share the same waist and hands with Cubile. So if you like the suits designs in Zeta Gundam, chances are you like 5 Star Stories designs too. And here is the kit assembled, and hopefully you agree, but it looks amazing. I just love every bit of this design. It kind of reminds me of the Alien Queen, with all this stuff happening at the back. And the engineering of this kit is really well thought out. You would assume that it would be very unstable, being so thin and tall. But the stuff behind the legs act as another pair of support, so it won't fall backwards at all. And you would also assume it wouldn't be able to hold up the massive rifle, but quite cleverly it actually attaches to the side skirt, so it doesn't have any weight issue. It's just everything is well thought out, and I'm really impressed. This kit doesn't have articulation though, so this is the only pose you can get out of it. But yeah, this thing is bigger than the base itself, and it's about 85 centimeters long because of the rifle and the back legs, and stands about 35 centimeters tall, so about the size of a PG Gundam. And I haven't attached these tail things at the legs too, so it'll be actually even longer. But yes, I look forward to paint it and polish all those clear parts, and I expect it to be quite a simple and smooth build. And 5 Star Stories kits don't have complicated color separations. It would just be very refreshing to do something different. So yes, do stay tuned and see you in the next video.